Good morning students. In today's class we will study about these two topics known as vaccination and immunization. Okay, what is vaccination and what is this process known as immunization? If you read the explanation for vaccination, in vaccination a preparation of antigenic proteins or inactivated or weakened pathogens are introduced into the body. Okay, if I have to explain this process in a very simple way, let's consider the example of a polio virus or polio vaccination that is being given to children below the age of 5 years. What happens is, when polio vaccine is given to the children, okay, polio can be considered as it's a vaccination. Polio is actually a virus which causes the deformities in the limb development of a child. Now what happens is, in order to avoid this polio disease, what is done is, there is a virus known as polio virus causing this disease. Now what we do is, or what the scientists have done is, they have taken this polio virus, okay, they were doing a study, they were conducting a study on this polio virus. What they did was, they took few polio virus, they made the polio virus less virulent, okay, less virulent. Virulence is the property where the virus is capable of causing disease, okay. The disease causing property is known as virulence, okay. So what was done is, scientists took few polio virus, the live active virulent polio virus. Virulent, when I say, the virus which is able to cause polio. Now they took this virus, they made the virus very less virulent. Very less virulent means they decreased the capacity of this polio virus to cause the disease known as polio. That's what we call now. Okay, so they decreased, they made the virus very less virulent. That means they decreased the capacity of the virus to cause the disease. Okay, but the virus was still live. Okay, they did not kill the virus. The virus was very much alive, but they made the virus very less virulent. Okay, and they prepared a vaccination. They prepared a vaccine. Sorry. Okay, they prepared a vaccine using this live, less virulent polio virus. Okay, they injected this live, less virulent polio virus into a child's body. Okay, when the child's body was injected with this polio virus or polio vaccine, okay, this vaccine, you all know, it contains live polio virus. However, the capacity of that polio virus to cause polio has been reduced to a greater extent. Now what happens is, when this virus enters the body of a child, initially, when the polio virus enters the body of the child's immune system gets active and they produce something called as primary response. We have already discussed primary and secondary response in acquired immunity. Okay, the child's body develop a primary response. Let me draw a kid who is below the age of 5 years. Okay, now below the age of 5 years, you do not want the polio virus to attack this baby or a child and this baby to develop polio. Okay, you don't want that to happen. You want the baby to be healthy. So what you do is, you give vaccination to this baby against polio virus. Okay, so you give vaccination to this child against polio virus. Okay, you are giving vaccination to this child against polio virus. Okay, now you are taking a vaccination. Oh, you are taking a vaccine in a syringe. Okay, you are filling the syringe with this vaccine. Okay, the process of giving the process of giving vaccine is known as vaccination. Vaccination is a process, whereas vaccine is a material which is given to to any particular persons. Okay, so this is vaccination is a process where vaccine is a material or substance or a kind of medicine which can be given to any person. Now, you are giving a vaccination against, you are doing a vaccination against polio virus. So, you are injecting this vaccine inside the baby's body. So, what is this vaccine? Vaccine is nothing but, here in case of polio, we are taking live and less virulent polio virus. So here you can see, you want this baby or the child to not develop polio disease. So you are giving vaccination, you are injecting a vaccine inside this child, whereas the vaccine itself contains live but less virulent polio virus. You want to develop immunity against polio virus, whereas as a vaccine you are giving that polio virus itself to the child. However, in which form? In live but less virulent form. That means when you inject this vaccine into the child's body, this live and less virulent polio virus itself, they enter the baby's body. Okay, so this is a child's body. You are injecting a vaccine, polio vaccine. So what happens is, polio virus itself, they enter the child's body. But the point to remember here is that this is live, they are living, but they are less virulent. Their disease causing capacity is very less. Now what happens, as soon as the polio virus enters your body, the non-virulent or less virulent polio enters your body's immune system becomes active, and what it commands whom? It commands B lymphocytes to do what? B lymphocytes produces what? Antibodies or immunoglobulins. We have studied about this in our previous classes. Okay. So once you inject this vaccine inside a child's body, the child's immune system gets active and it asks or commands the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Okay, when the antibodies are produced, okay, these antibodies are going towards the polio virus and they will be completely neutralized or killed by these antibodies. Okay, now imagine, instead of, before you give the vaccine, a real virulent, highly virulent polio has entered this child body. What happens? The polio is completely virulent. It has the capacity to overcome your immune system. Okay, it has the capacity to overcome or fight against your immune system, and in such cases your body develops polio. The child will develop this disease called as polio. However, here what happened? Why are you doing this? This is in order to create immune response in your body. Why are you giving the same virus in the vaccine? That is in order to develop primary response. So what happened here? you injected the polio virus, your immune system knows this is some new virus coming inside. So what happens? It plans for, it actually carries out planning for some time. Because this polio virus is entering your body for the first time. Your body does not know which type of antibodies should be produced or what action has to be taken. Okay, whether it has to be neutralized by antibodies or a cell-mediated immunity or cell-mediated immune response is required. Your body takes time to plan it. Okay, hope you are able to understand this. When a fresh virulent virus or a completely pathogenic virus enters your body is confused because that polio virus is completely strong. It has the capacity to fight against your immune system. By the time immune system is ready to produce antibodies, your polio virus would have completely attacked your immune system. Okay, and the child would have developed polio disease. Okay, so in order to avoid that, what we do is we already give a less virulent and live polio virus. When the polio virus enters your body, immune system takes time. Takes time to think what action has to be taken. Whether I need to produce antibodies or I need to ask the cell-mediated response to, I need to ask the few immune cells to take action. So since this is not less virulent, immune system has time to think about the action that needs to be taken. Okay, so even though immune system is taking time, no adverse effect is going to happen in your body because the virus is non-virulent or less virulent. Okay, imagine in this case a strong virulent polio virus has entered your body. By the time your immune system is thinking what action has to be taken, the polio virus will spread in your body and it will start causing the disease in case of virulent. But in your vaccine you are giving less virulent virus. Okay, you are giving less virulent virus. So even though your immune system is taking time to think about the action needs to be taken, the polio which has entered, this virus which has entered, it will not cause any harm to your body. Because it is already non-virulent, it cannot cause any virulence. Okay, it cannot cause any harm to your body. It will wait there till your body produces antibodies. The antibodies will go and kill that particular virus. Now, what happens? When you injected the vaccine, polio virus entered, your immune system got activated, it asked the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Okay, your antibodies will go and kill all these viruses. Imagine after few years, okay, after few years of giving the vaccine, the body encounters an attack by a real polio virus. This is a lab-made polio virus which is very less virulent. Imagine a live and virulent, fully strong polio virus is attacking your body. Okay, in such case what happens when the polio virus, when the vaccine was given, when the polio virus, this virus entered your body for the first time, what was caused? Primary response was caused. Okay, and it was of low intensity. That means your body took a very long time in order to kill these viruses. Since they were less virulent, they did not cause any disease in your body. However, imagine after 2 years of taking vaccine, because we regularly take vaccine, polio, live and powerful virulent virus entered your body. Okay, polio virus entered your body. Who will get activated? Your immune system. But your immune system knows this is the virus which has entered my body long back. your immune system remembers. I told you about memory, right? Our immune system, or the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes which are present in our body, they are able to remember the previous attack by any particular pathogen. So if your immune system, when the polio attacks for the second time, the virulent polio attacks for the second time, your immune system knows this virus has already attacked me before. So your immune system knows what exact action has to be taken. Okay, what action has to be taken exactly, your immune system knows. So immediately, okay, within a short time, it will ask the respective B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Immediately antibodies will go and kill the polio. Okay, imagine if you had not given vaccine before. If you had not given vaccine, this virulent polio would have definitely spoiled your immune system and this child would have developed polio. Okay, so you are giving less virulent and live polio virus. That is the reason your body was able to produce the primary response. Now, when the polio was attacked for the second time, immediately the antibodies were produced and the polio virus was killed. This is known as secondary response. Okay, so this response is known as secondary response. Secondary response is always of high intensity because your body already knows what action has to be taken in the second attack. So it is always of high intensity, whereas in the first attack by one pathogen, your body doesn't know what action has to be taken. So it is of always low intensity. So what did we inject in case of polio vaccine to a child? We injected a live and less virulent polio virus itself. So here you can see, you can read now, in vaccination, a preparation of antigenic proteins or inactivated or weakened pathogen. Here in case of polio, what we did, we have taken a weakened pathogen, we have taken a weak polio virus. Okay, so less virulent means kind of weak virus we have taken and introduced into the child's body. This is only the example of polio. There are multiple vaccines available in the market. Okay, sometimes what we do is, here I have mentioned inactivated or weakened pathogen is being introduced into the body. Okay, inactivated or weakened pathogen. Inactivated and weakened pathogen is we made the polio less virulent. This condition can be called as inactivated and weakened pathogen. Okay, here also there is a point, if you see this, a preparation of antigenic proteins. Okay, preparation of antigenic proteins taken from the pathogen. Now you want to develop a vaccine against one particular pathogen. What you will do is, instead of taking the whole pathogen like we did in case of polio, we have taken the whole live polio cell, made it we inactivated it or we made it weak and we introduced into a child's body. So here we have taken the whole pathogen or whole antigen. Okay, I have already mentioned all the foreign substances that are entering your body are known as antigens. Virus is also a kind of antigen. You can take either the whole cell or whole antigen, or from the antigen, from a pathogen, you can take only the proteins. Such case we call it as antigenic proteins. The proteins taken from antigens, that means any pathogen. Okay, so what you do is, you do a preparation of antigenic proteins, that means proteins taken from the antigens. Antigens are nothing but pathogens. Okay, otherwise you inactivate or weaken the pathogen, then you introduce into a person's body. So this process becomes vaccination. Okay. Now, when you do this, vaccination, what happens when a pathogen a weak pathogen or inactivated pathogen or a protein taken from the pathogen enters your body, immediately your body starts producing antibodies. Not immediately, your body's immune system will take some time to analyze this pathogen, and antibodies are produced, with respect to those particular antigens. Read this. The antibodies produced in the body against these antigens would neutralize the pathogenic agents during actual infection. What is the purpose of giving vaccine? You give the vaccine, you send a inactivated or weakened pathogen, or you take the proteins from the pathogen and put it inside a person's body. That becomes vaccination. So this person, depending upon what antigens are coming inside, they will start producing antibodies, okay, and they will kill all the pathogens which are coming in the vaccine. Now, body will remember these particular pathogens, and if this pathogen comes, which antibodies have to be produced. So, if there is an actual attack happening in the future, now this was just a demo given by you where you have inactivated the pathogen, there is no virulence to this pathogen. However, imagine if the same virus or same bacteria or whatever it is, if it is attacking your body in real, okay, in real, if this pathogen is attacking your body is already ready for this pathogen, right? Your body is completely ready for this pathogen. Immediately it produces antibodies and kills the particular pathogen, okay. Now, what happens is the vaccines also generate memory B and T cells. Okay, we talked about B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes in the previous classes. They are also referred as B cells and T cells. There are, when they, contribute towards having the memory of the previous attack, these B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes are also known as memory B cells and memory T cells. Okay, there are different classifications for this B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes, there are classifications like helper T cells, cytotoxic T cells, regulatory T cells and memory T cells. Okay, memory T cells are the type of T cells. And B lymphocytes also, we have different types of B lymphocytes like plasma cells, and we have memory B cells. Okay, so they are the actual, they are type of B and T lymphocytes, memory B lymphocytes and memory T lymphocytes or T cells. So what happens is when you insert or when you inject a vaccine into a person's body, it will generate memory B and memory T cells to recognize the pathogen quickly on subsequent exposure, and a massive production of antibodies takes place. Okay, the same concept what I explained. When you insert a vaccine, the pathogen that is produced in that vaccine, against this pathogen, the body will produce the antibodies. And later, this B cells and T cells, because they carry out the function of remembering the pathogen, they are known as memory B cells and memory T cells. They will, they will have a memory of which pathogen has come in, and they will be able to recognize the pathogen when subsequent exposure happens, when a real exposure happens. So that time massive production of antibodies will take place. So this is all about vaccination. We will go into the next topic known as immunization. If you look into this, it's very simple. If I have to explain in a simple terms, when you inject a vaccine into a person's body to boost his immunity, that process is known as vaccination. Okay, you are injecting a vaccine into a person's body, and that process is known as vaccination. When you inject the vaccine, the person produces antibodies and he will be ready for the next attack. That capacity of the body is known as immunization. Immunization means the body becoming immune. When you give the vaccine, vaccination and immunization are two different terms. Vaccination is a process where you inject a vaccine into a person's body. That is vaccination. That's all about vaccination. Rest what I have explained, when a person produces antibodies and he will be ready for the next actual attack, that capacity of the body is known as immunization. That means when you did vaccination, the person becomes immunized. Okay, when you do this process known as vaccination, the person becomes immunized. Okay, the person's immunity increases and he will be ready for the next attack by the pathogen. So that capacity of a person's body is known as immunization. Okay, immunization, it is a process by which the produced antibodies against the vaccine and develop the ability to neutralize pathogens during actual infection. Okay, actually here we need to add the term. It is a process by which the body, okay, the body produces antibodies. Okay, I have already told you when we give any kind of vaccine to a person, the person will start producing antibodies. Okay, so it is a process by which the body produces antibodies. That means, imagine somebody has given me a vaccine today. By end of today or by tomorrow evening, my body will start producing antibodies against that vaccine. Okay, against the, a vaccine means against the pathogen present in that vaccine, and develop the ability to neutralize pathogens during actual infection. Okay, today somebody has given me vaccine. That is the process known as vaccination. Done. Okay, somebody has injected an inactivated or weakened pathogen or the antigenic proteins into my body. That process is known as vaccination. That is done. Once you have done the vaccination, what my body does is, my body will start producing antibodies. When there is the actual pathogen attacking me, my body is going to neutralize that pathogen. Okay, because my body already have the memory of the previous attack. My body become immunized, or me developing the immunity, that process is known as immunization. Okay, vaccination and immunization are based on the property called as memory of immune system. What is memory? You know it already. Now, if a person is infected with some deadly microbes to which quick immune response is required, as in case of tetanus, we need to directly inject the preformed antibodies or antitoxin. While explaining passive immunity, I have mentioned that sometimes, here there is an example of that as well. Let's read it. Even in case of snake bites, the injection which is given to the patient contain preformed antibodies against the snake venom. This type of immunization is called as passive immunization. Now what happens is, in general case of immunization, you will be given a vaccination, your body becomes immunized. That process is known as immunization. In this process, if a doctor is giving you a vaccine, he is injecting you the inactivated pathogen itself. Okay, so your body is going to develop antibodies against this inactivated pathogen. Okay, imagine a case where instead of waiting for your body to produce antibodies, when I'll explain it, let's look into this. Vaccination is, a vaccine has been produced, it has been injected to a person A. Okay, so this process is vaccination. What is immunization? This person A will start producing antibodies okay, so person A will produce antibodies and the person A will be ready for the actual attack. Understood? In case of vaccine, what you do is, you take a inactivated pathogen and you insert this inactivated pathogen to the person A. This person A, this is vaccination. he will produce antibodies against this pathogen. He will produce antibodies against this pathogen, and he will kill this pathogen coming in the vaccine. Now, later, imagine for few years there is no attack by the same pathogen. After few years, if the same pathogen is actually attacking this person A, he will produce the antibodies, he will be ready for the actual attack by the same pathogen. This property of the body is known as immunization. The person becoming immune to this particular disease is known as immunization. Okay, so in case of immunization, what we do is we give a inactivated pathogen. In case of vaccination, we give inactivated pathogen. Okay, so it is just a preventive measure, so that in the future this particular pathogen will not affect the person's body, because this pathogen is very virulent or dangerous. Now what happens? There are some diseases, or there are some circumstances in which we cannot give the vaccine prior itself. We cannot be giving the vaccine. For example, if we cannot give you a anti-venom thinking that a snake might bite you in the future and that venom will enter your body. Okay, so we cannot predict that a snake might bite you after 15 years. So today itself I will give you a vaccine against that snake venom. No, which it will not happen. So if imagine in a case, if any one person X has been bitten by a snake, immediately what happens is he will be hospitalized. We cannot give any kind of vaccine here. What we have to do is we have to inject ready-made antibodies into this person's blood, so that this ready-made antibodies will fight against that snake venom, snake poison, and it will neutralize the effect of the snake venom and the person will survive. Okay, but if you ask me a question, can this can we not give this anti-snake anti-venom in form of vaccine, when just like we give any other vaccine? That will not happen, because these are the not the normal scenarios. Okay, so this will be preserved in the hospital. If a person is getting bitten by a snake, then he will be given ready-made antibodies. Here there is a lot of difference between giving ready-made antibodies and injecting the inactivated or weakened pathogen. Such case in which your body is made immunized artificially. Okay, your body is made immunized artificially. Such type of immunization is known as passive immunization. That means your body is not active in developing the immunization. In case of this immunization, your body is trying to produce antibodies and it is trying to attack the pathogen. This is the actual active immunization. Your body is active, it produces antibodies, it will kill the pathogen in this case also and in the case of actual attack also. However, in this case, your body is not producing any antibodies. We are injecting ready-made antibodies to the person. Okay, in such case is known as passive immunization. Now imagine a case where you have been hurt by a iron rod. Okay, you fell on iron rod, or rod fell on you, and you have a small wound or injury. As soon as you go to the doctor, doctor will give you an injection called as TT, tetanus toxoid. Okay, that will be the injection given to you. What are those injections? They are actually the ready-made antibodies against this tetanus. Okay, so they actually contain the ready-made antibodies against the tetanus causing pathogen. Since you have been hit by a iron rod, there is a chance that you might get infected very soon. That is the reason they'll give you already the ready-made antibodies which they have made as TT injection. They'll give you TT injection, so you will not develop the tetanus disease. Okay, so in this case also ready-made antibodies will be injected to your body when you are hurt by a iron rod. So these two cases are considered as passive immunization. That means your body is not active in producing antibodies. Artificial antibodies are already ready-made antibodies are inserted into your body. So in such case, that immunization is known as passive immunization. You naturally are immunizing, you are not immunizing your body. Artificially we are immunizing your body, so that becomes artificial immunization. I hope those two topics, vaccination and immunization, are clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can always get back to me. Now, the next topic that we will be studying is allergies. Okay, allergies. You might be having different explanation for allergy, but the proper explanation for allergy is that the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. Okay, if we have to take a simple example, you have taken some flower, you have inhaled, you felt the fragrance is very attractive. So what you did, you just wanted to smell the flower. Suddenly what happens is, the pollen grains which will be present in the flower enters your nose and you start sneezing continuously for at least 5 to 10 minutes. So then what you say, I got allergy because of the pollen grains which is present in the flower. Generally pollen grains tend to cause allergy in many, in a few people at least. Okay, and sometimes you eat brinjal. Most of the people complain about getting some allergy symptoms after eating brinjal. Okay, after eating brinjal you start itching your body. Okay, so the itching starts as soon as people eat brinjal. And few people, when you inhale, the hair is coming from your pets, that is dogs or cats. If the hair is coming out, their body hair, if you inhale that hair, you might develop some kind of allergy. That your nose might start becoming red, itching. You will feel the itchiness in your nose. All these things we generally call it as allergy. Here I have just given an explanation. They are allergy actually. So here I just have given a proper explanation or scientific explanation for what is allergy. Exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. So what actually is allergy? When you overexpress anything or any matter, that becomes exaggeration. Okay, so when a normal pollen grain enters your nose, your body overreacts or overexpress. Why it overexpress? It is thinking this pollen grain as an antigen or a foreign substance. Hope this is clear to you. Any substance, if a animal hair, if the hair strands coming from your pet is entering your nose, that might be a normal animal hair for you, but it is a foreign substance to your body. It is an antigen. Okay, I told you any foreign substance including pathogen, all are considered as antigens. Okay, because they generate a immune system, immune response in your body. That animal hair, pollen grains, brinjal, some chemicals present in the brinjal are considered as antigens in your body. So that is the reason your body overreacts or gives over response or exaggerated response. Okay, now if you read this, the exaggerated response of the immune system. When I say this over expression of your body, it is the over expression of your immune system which is present inside your body, which is thinking these pollen grains is animal dander, or the chemical something which is coming in brinjal, they are all antigens. Okay, it is thought by your immune system, not your body. When I say body, your immune system. So your immune system overreacts or exaggerate things. So if you read this, the exaggerate response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called as allergy. Okay, now I hope this is clear to you. Now, the substances to which an immune response is produced are called allergens. Otherwise, to be simple, any substance causing allergy are known as allergens. Allergens means substance generating allergy. Aller represents allergy, gens represents generating. So, any substance which generates allergy are known as allergens. Okay, so any substance which actually makes your immune system exaggerate are known as allergens. Now, why you get such immediate response? Why your nose starts itching? Why your eyes starts shedding tears? Why your skin starts itching? So there is the reason for this is that when any antigen, when they are not actually toxic or pathogenic, but they are some foreign substance in your body, your immune system immediately produces an antibody known as IgE. Okay, I have mentioned there are different types of antibodies: IgG, IgM, IgA, IgE. Okay, so IgE is the type of antibody which is produced when you get some allergy in your body. So when any allergens enter your body, allergens, when I say the substance which causes allergy, for example, if pollen grain is entering your nose when you are smelling a flower, the pollen grains will be considered as a antigen, okay, but actually it is a allergen. But in your body it is considered as antigen. Your immune system overreacts. Okay, they respond in a exaggerated way. What they do is they produce this antibody known as IgE. Who produces? Again, B lymphocytes. All the antibodies are produced by B lymphocytes. So this antibody known as IgE is produced. Now if we take examples of different allergens are mites in dust. Mites are mites generally it is present in dust. They are small, microscopic animals. Okay, you will not be able to find it through naked eye. You will not be able to see it under naked eye. They are the small, microscopic bugs, we can say, present in the dust. They don't bite you. Okay, however, if you are inhaling dust, or if the dust is sitting on your body, these minute bugs or mites present in the dust is able to cause allergy in your body. Pollens, as I said, pollen grains. Animal dander, the hair that comes from the animal body. They all are examples of allergens. Then what are the symptoms of allergy? Many people get many symptoms, different symptoms depending upon their body type and what the allergens are. So symptoms: sneezing, many people sneeze, watery eyes, running nose and difficulty in breathing. Few people find the allergy very severe because they find it very difficulty in breathing. Here we should also add one more symptom. It is itching. Okay, most of the people develop this itching when they come in contact with allergens. Now, why this allergy is caused? Why our body cannot just accept the allergens. Allergy is caused due to the release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. Here you see this mast cells. Mast cells are a special type of cells originated from your bone marrow. Okay, just like your lymphocytes, red RBCs and WBCs, mast cells are also a particular type of cells originated in your bone marrow. They release these two chemicals known as histamine and serotonin. When these mast cells release histamine and serotonin, they are released only when any allergens enter our body. When any allergens enter our body, these mast cells which are produced from bone marrow, they start releasing these two chemicals, histamine and serotonin. Ultimately, the symptoms of allergy is caused. Okay, now what treatments and drugs can be used for allergy? For determining the cause of allergy, the patient is exposed to or injected with very small doses of possible allergens. Now you go to a doctor, now you are eating regularly, however every day you get allergy. Okay, you go to a doctor and inform the doctor that you are getting continuous allergy. Doctor is able to decide which food or what is causing you allergy in your body. So what the doctor will do, generally doctors take the suggestion as to the things that you are getting exposed to every day or the food that you are consuming regularly, and the doctor will make a chart and he will think about certain possible allergens that might be causing you this allergy, because the doctor is not sure about the allergen. So after that, doctor will start giving you a small dose of each allergen he has listed. Okay, he will start giving you small doses of each allergen that he has listed. After getting those allergen, if you are developing any symptoms, then the doctor will consider that allergen as the actual reason for your allergy, and doctor will prescribe any medication against that allergen, or the doctor will suggest you not to consume that particular allergen. If it is happening with the help of through food, the doctor will suggest not to consume that particular food. However, if it is happening through something else, like because of the mites, as I mentioned here, you cannot avoid all these things. Pollens, if they are coming in air, wind, okay, animal dander, again they can fly in air. If you cannot avoid this, then the doctor will prescribe you some medications. Okay, so that's what here I mentioned. Very small doses of possible allergens will be given to you by the doctor, and the reactions will be studied. After studying the reaction, he will be giving you certain drugs, drugs in the sense medications. The use of drugs like antihistamine, here I have told you histamine is a chemical released by mast cell which causes allergy. So the doctor will give you antihistamine, antidote against this histamine. Adrenaline, okay, you have heard about this hormone, and steroids. Certain steroids will be given to you which will reduce the symptoms of allergy. Okay, which generally reduces the symptom of allergy. So this is the complete information about allergy. I hope this is clear to you. Next we will move on to our next topic known as autoimmunity. Now, autoimmunity is a kind of memory-based acquired immunity. You know what is memory-based? You know what is acquired immunity? Evolved in higher vertebrates based on the ability to differentiate foreign organism from self cells. Yesterday while talking about T cells, I mentioned that our body's T cells, T lymphocytes, are able to differentiate what is self cells, that means what belongs to my body and what is a foreign organism. Okay, if any foreign substance is entering your body is able to identify which is mine and which is non-mine, which is self and which is non-self. Non-selves are the pathogens or antigens coming from outside your body, and self is everything everything that belongs to your body. So your body is able to differentiate this. This is a kind of acquired immunity, memory based acquired immunity that we already naturally have. Now here if you see higher, again the same sentence, higher vertebrates like we can distinguish foreign molecules as well as foreign organisms. So if any foreign molecules or foreign organisms are entering our body is able to differentiate. Sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks cells. Here comes the problem. You might have heard many people, like especially a few of our celebrities, they have complained about having this disease, disorder known as autoimmune disorder. That's what they say. Okay, autoimmunity means the immunity that you have in your body in order to differentiate between self and non-self, which is mine and which is not mine. However, in few people, due to unknown reasons, it could be genetic or it could be unknown reasons, our body is not able to differentiate self cells from non-self cells. The body is not able to identify which are my cells and which are not my cells. So what happens is your immunity starts killing your own cells. Okay, your immune system will start killing your own body cells. Such condition is known as autoimmune disorder. Autoimmunity is good. Autoimmunity is good because in this condition your body has an immunity where it is able to differentiate between a self and non-self cells, which is mine and which is not mine. However, if you have an autoimmune disorder, that means if you have this problem, there is some disorder with your autoimmunity, your immune system is not able to differentiate between a self and non-self cells, it starts killing its own cells. Okay, my body will start killing my own cells, so there is no medication or there is no treatment for this condition. Sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, even though science is developed or advanced, we are still unable to identify what is actually causing this autoimmune disorder or disease. Now, this is a good condition where our body is able to differentiate foreign organism from self cells. However, in sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks self cells. Okay, the self cells will be attacked. This results in damage to the body and is called autoimmune disease. Okay, such condition where the body kills its own cells, the condition is called as autoimmune disease. Example for autoimmune disease are rheumatoid arthritis, Addison's disease, Hashimoto disease. Okay, these three are the examples for autoimmune disease. So it has affected many people in our society, which is an autoimmune disease. Okay, so this is all about autoimmunity, and these are the few examples for autoimmune diseases. If you want, you can just Google it for more information about these diseases. Rheumatoid arthritis, Addison's disease and Hashimoto disease. Okay, let's move on to the next topic of our syllabus, immune system in the body. I have been teaching this since 4 to 5 sessions. So if you look into this, the human immune system consists of lymphoid organs. Now, I have talked about immune system till now. I have been telling you if a pathogen, if an antigen is entering your body, your immune system gets active. Your immune system does this, your immune system does that. I have told you so many things about immune system. Let's study what is this actual immune system is and what are the different units involved in your immune system. If you see, the human immune system consists of lymphoid organs. Okay, we have to study in detail about lymphoid organs, so I will explain it there. So, what is immune system? Immune system is a combination of many units. So, the first is lymphoid organs. All these units together constitutes your immune system. The first unit of your immune system is lymphoid organs. I'll explain what are lymphoid organs. Tissues. Okay, we have different tissues in our body which is also a part of immune system. Cells. Okay, we have varieties of cells in our body which also acts as units of immune system. Soluble molecules like antibodies. You are familiar about antibodies, you know the structure of antibodies. So when I say immune system gets activated, immune system does this, does that. What is the immune system? It is a combination of lymphoid organs, tissues, cells and antibodies. All these together, they constitute a immune system of your body. Now, we have to study about these lymphoid organs in detail. Okay? Now, what are lymphoid organs? Lymphoid organs are the organs where origin, maturation and proliferation of lymphocytes occur. Okay, so there has to be a change here. After origin, it has to be proliferation and then maturation. So lymphoid organs are the organs where origin, proliferation and maturation of lymphocytes occur. Okay, now lymphoid organs, the name itself indicates it's an organ somewhere dealing with your lymphocytes. Wherever there is a word lymph, you have to know that particular lymph is associated with your lymphocytes, which are the types of WBC, which are the one type of WBCs. In lymphocytes, we have two types, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Lymphoid organs. Here, so I have already told you when we write the term lymphoid, it is always associated with lymphocytes. So what are lymphoid organs? Lymphoid organs are any organs of our body where origin means formation, proliferation means increase in the number of cells,